sorry, who?
Did Ron get a hold of you?
Ron.
White House Eagle? Did he reach out? He was going to.
Newspaper.
There's a section of the Vision 2020 plan that talks about the history of White House. I don't know if is that public domain? That was the question.
Do we have anything for executive session?
How dare you? You don't like executive session?
I love us.
Would you wanna go and eat dinner like I do?
It was working.
Tell you the truth, I hope the Eagle does good. I hope it does.
We'll go with that.
What do you have going?
You got your,
But it's, tell us.
anything but this, huh? Alright,
Oh.
the microphone's on.
You
now
know
we're
what,
recording.
Zach? I appreciate you
Gives you a
reminding me
warning
about
there.
that, because the last one he did
Raise
was
debris flying.
earth shattering.
All cell phones turned off, please.
Your gavel.
Yeah, mine's on
My
silent.
gal.
Roger.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start doing this, listen.
God,
It's good. Makes a hollow
I
sound.
don't understand.
It's plenty loud. Oh, goodness.
Okay,
And it could be worse, is all I'm saying.
this could not get worse.
All right. I'll now call to order this meeting of the City of White House Council for today, October the 11th, 2022. The time is now 6 p.m. Ms. Hargis, please call roll. I'm sorry, I hope you're ready. Are you ready?
Yes. Yep.
Please call roll.
James Wansley,
Here.
Zach Briscoe,
Here.
Georgia Harris,
Here.
John Chambers,
Here.
Michael Lowe,
Here.
and Heath Rosenstein. We have a quorum.
Excellent. Would a member of the council like to lead us in prayer tonight?
I'll do it if you want me to.
Yes, sir, please.
Okay.
Please rise and join Councilman Lowe as he leads us in prayer.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day, and thank you for our great city, and help us all to make decisions that will lead our city forward. God bless each and every one of our people, and guide, guard, and direct our lives during the next week. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag. Honor
The Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Excellent. All right. That takes us on to item D, which is presentations. Mrs. Black, no presentations?
I'm sorry.
All right. Well, I can see how this is going to go. Let's go to item E, community interest. Matters of community interest.
A couple of things, Mayor. Several of the city staff and I and Councilmember Lowe attended the TML conference last week in San Antonio, which is the Texas Municipal League. There were probably about 3,000 members from various cities, both elected officials and staff members there. It was a great week. We attended a lot of sessions and got to catch up with a lot of vendors that we use on projects and kind of just get to know some of our counterparts in other cities. So it was a great time and we learned a lot. And then coming up, we have the Chamber of Commerce reverse raffle on October 15th. That's this Saturday. They still have a few tickets left if anybody would like to go. The YCC Youth Community Council is planning their Veterans Day program for Saturday, November 12th. And Christmas in the Park will be Saturday, December 3rd. And then also last week, the police department hosted National Night Out. I think they had a great turnout and a great event. So.
How'd the Mayor Pro Tem do?
Good job.
Yeah.
So anything in TML that you guys learned that you feel like was a pretty big gem, big pull away? Not to put any pressure, but
It was just, to me, these things always energize me. I come back and it puts a little vigor into my footsteps and my walk. And the workshops were great. And it's just good to see the big picture that we're not by ourselves as a community, that we're a part of the Lone Star State and everybody. And some great workshops. I took a lot of notes. And like I said, the staff took good care of me. I was the only councilman there, and I appreciate it, you know. And hey, they like my singing too.
all right. Any comments from city staff?
For me in particular, we got to talk to a lot of companies and see a lot of projects that a lot of cities are working on. In particular, knowing kind of what our plans for and hopes are for our park system, talking to some other cities and some vendors about what they're doing about accessible parks and playgrounds these days was particularly important and valuable. I spoke to a vendor for a long time about that, about some turf material that's accessible for those with all abilities. So I felt like that was pretty encouraging to see kind of how that technology is changing. And then of course our fiber provider was there, and so we got to visit with them a little bit and talk about what they have going on, and we'll kind of cover that when we get to our fiber study. So, but it was a great week.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
All right, anybody else? I'm ultimately curious about this. So there's an award for community service projects that we didn't make the cut for that with our youth community council. Was anybody there when they announced what the winner of that was?
So in that particular category, the city of Athens won that award they took some dilapidated or older buildings that were African American schools, I think, in their city and repurposed those.
Oh, excellent.
I think, or did a memorial wall
Did a
for their
memorial wall.
students.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I mean, it was some
That's pretty good.
stiff
Yeah.
competition
All right.
in that category. So
Yeah.
our counterpart, City of Tyler, won a couple of awards one for their infants at work, and so anyway, yeah. it was
Yeah,
good.
guess we can acquiesce to that. All right, looks great. Really excited about coming into the November and the Christmas season. Lots of Thanksgiving activities. There's some kind of it looks like a yesteryear type setup going on in the farmers market area with some chairs and some hay. Anybody know what's going on there?
They had just asked if they could do some seating out there. I think, they're trying to do a little bit more live music since it's cooling off. And
Okay.
hoping people just hang around a little bit longer. They asked if they could put it out there, and I just
Alright.
said yes. I just keep saying yes to them on whatever they want to do, and they just keep throwing it. So,
As long as that kid keeps supplying me with the lemonade, let them do what they want.
Yeah, there's a geocache over there, so I went and found it the other day, and I was like, I wonder if I'm allowed to sit in this. So now I know.
they asked if they could put it out there. We said yes, and
It looks great. It looks, you look at that, it looks like it really gets you in the mood, like the fall season is all right there, so that's amazing. All right, well, thank you for that update. Anything from council on the matter of community interest? No? All right. That takes us to item F, public forum.
no one signed in.
No one has signed up for public forum, so that brings us over to G, the consent agenda. There's a few things on the consent agenda. So if you would like to move anything from the consent agenda onto the regular agenda, this is the time. Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second. Last chance. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. With that, the consent agenda passes. Going down to item H, other action items, ordinances, resolutions, and public hearings. We have number 1, which is a staff update on the fiber feasibility study and the fiber connectivity in the city. Mrs. Black.
Mayor and council, as I mentioned, we were able to catch up with some of our representatives with Cobb Finley while we were at the TML conference. Melissa was not there, so I don't have an update on the RFI just yet. She and I haven't been able to connect over the last couple of weeks. But we are still waiting on the fiber provider that has sent in the most permit applications. They are still in engineering review on their side, trying to make some corrections to get to our design standards and our requirements. So we're still waiting on that. And then Susan and I think, have a meeting either this week or next with the incumbent internet provider to see what their plans are. So
Okay.
We'll have more information after that meeting and have a better idea of kind of what their plans are for the future. So hopefully, once we get past this first round of permits and kind of the vendors get used to what our requirements are, this process will go faster as we move forward. Now that we have them in place and can hand them to them when we first have our preliminary conversations, it's taken a little bit longer this time because they were already so far down a path by the time we adopted those. So
So is it a back and forth that's the holdup, or is it just kind of sitting with us or Cobb Finley waiting?
So right now, it's sitting with the fiber installer, their company.
Oh, okay.
And it's been with them for a couple of weeks now.
Okay.
So,
That's good to hear that we in Cobb Finley are not the holdup on that. I'm glad to hear
no,
that.
Cobb Finley's turnaround has been the first round of turnaround was a little bit slower because we needed to get together and make sure we were all on the same page. But since then, I think their turnaround has been probably 3 to 5 business days, which is pretty
That's pretty good.
Do they still have a December target date? Because I know when they presented, they were hoping to be, selling by mid-December.
It would surprise me,
Would it?
yeah, just
Really?
because we're into October now. So.
And I hope they're stocking up on fiber, actual fiber. I think only 15% of that is manufactured in the U.S. And as soon as some of these larger federal projects get the go-ahead, it's going to be a seller's market. And
And I did ask Cobb Finley, I said, what are you guys working on? Do you have any interesting projects? And they have the individual I spoke to, Jared, indicated they had 4 other studies like we had just completed underway, just his team. So he said you definitely got in before before the rush. So
well, that's good.
yeah.
All right, that's us. We're trendsetters. Any more questions or comments on this item on the fiber feasibility study? All right, that takes us off to item H2, staff update on 109 East Main renovation.
Mayor and Council, this morning I met with a gentleman named Eric who will be our project manager for 109 East Main's renovation. He came out and was trying to take a little bit more accurate measurements, taking a look at our floor plan, and we'll start working on the schematic design for the building. So there will kind of be probably 4 approval parts for you all. So the first will be approval of the schematic design. Once we get into that, I think he indicated once we get about halfway on the schematic design is when we will need to go out and start seeking a construction manager at risk, also called a CMR, so that they can be in on the process very early on and kind of help identify any issues that they see with construction, and really be a partner in that process. And then once the schematic design is complete, they move into development design and then finally construction design and construction documents. So they want kind of your approval on each of those steps just to make sure we're all moving forward in the same direction. But Eric, that's going to be our project manager, is based out of Nacogdoches, so he's a little bit closer than the team out of Dallas and a little bit more convenient for him to hop over here should we need anything.
So he's a project manager with the architectural firm?
Yes.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good to get the at-risk in place. They seem to be aware of blind spots that architects aren't, and kind of vice versa. So it's great to have them partnered up soon. I like that.
And I think Eric and I were speaking this morning, and we think it's particularly important on renovating a building.
Absolutely. Yeah.
As opposed to just new construction.
It'd be beautiful if
So-
that wall isn't there, but that wall is load bearing and it has stairs.
Right, all those
Yeah,
things.
exactly.
So anyway, he was getting pretty well into details about, the elevator and what kind of elevator and, clearances for the stairwells and all those types of things today, really looking at it from a code perspective, things that we need to consider. So I'm excited that we have some progress on that as of
Yeah,
today.
that's great. All right, any questions or comments on that, the renovation? All right. That takes us down to item H3, discuss, consider, and act upon hosting an outdoor movie as a part of the Christmas in the Park event. Mrs. Black?
Mayor and Council, we have hosted an outdoor movie in the past as part of the Christmas in the Park event. And normally it's something that we just have in the budget that we can do at the staff level. However, this year, because we've committed $5,000 towards the ice skating rink, that kind of wiped out that line item budget. And so Stephanie's done a great job of getting these quotes pulled together and information on this vendor. So we're proposing hosting this movie in the park. On the right page on the total cost.
Says 1190.
1190.
1190, thank you. I can't pull it up while I've got the presentation pulled up. And that would be for Frosty, like the kind of old-fashioned, nostalgic Frosty movie. We felt like a short movie may entice parents to stay as opposed to a 2.5-hour-long movie after a really long day. So staff is seeking approval for that.
So that's like the claymation type Frosty, like the,
70s, yeah.
the one.
oh.
I like that one.
The cartoon one?
The one,
Oh, okay.
oh, I'm thinking of Rudolph. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That sounds,
What,
Kind of goes with our ice skating rink, you know.
Yeah.
what we're gonna be-
so, we have a discussion now, Mayor, or just?
yeah, it's open for discussion.
So, let me understand, what's the difference in $1,190, right? So what's the difference in, what are we doing different than our plain movie?
So there's an equipment cost, right? It's a big screen that they bring in, 16 feet.
Okay.
And then the rights to the movie. So to show it commercially,
Oh, yeah,
you have to purchase
Oh,
the
yeah.
rights, and that's a bit, probably half the cost, almost half.
so we're
That's
having, a
$800
Yeah.
almost.
And then $395 for the licensing.
so we're having a parade, we're having the snow globe thing, and then we're having the ice skating, and then you're proposing a movie,
Yep, and a tree lighting
okay?
and vendors.
I don't know. I'm not too in favor of the movie. I mean, but because I think it's not, I just think I'm just not far. But anyway, I just think we're doing plenty.
I honestly assumed the movie was already done and in the package because it's been there in the past. And I literally made the assumption that this was just already part of Christmas in the Park. Like when I saw it on here, I was like, oh.
And I love movies. I love movies.
I
Movies.
I do like the idea of having a shorter movie because, you know, the 2-hour ones, it's hard to hold people.
Yeah.
In the past, you
Yeah.
would have maybe, you know, just a handful of folks.
Especially if the weather's cold, you
You
lose
go.
them. You lose them as it gets late. That's one of our movies wound up being a drive-up movie because people wouldn't want to get out of their car. But yeah, I think people have kind of gotten used to having
I
a
do
movie in the
too.
park at that time of year. And if you know, I understand that we budgeted the skating rink and that ate up this budget, so now we have to ask for that again. But
And my only concern is the weather. I mean, I want it to be about 68 degrees, 65, but that's just my only concern, so I would say no, but.
yeah, a lot of the times they'll have hot chocolate vendors around, so people will cuddle up. The whole families will cuddle up together and kind of just watch the movie out in the cold, and it's kind of just fun. It's kind of just fun for.
And there's a lot of traffic that goes through there after the parade. I would hate to speculate on numbers, but it's
And it's kind of a
several
distraction.
hundred or, you know, at least a million.
So people start watching the movie and the vendors start packing up. You know, and they kind of leave and people don't even notice. So it's kind of a neat floater
So,
thing.
and our ice skating rink is gonna be there until 7 p.m. So if we do our tree lighting at 6-ish, and then can start the movie about 6:30, that will go till about 7, and everything will kind of wind down
Yeah.
at the same time. So,
I think the ice skating is going to be incredible. I talked to a couple of people at the conference, you know, about that, and I predict a line. I mean, it's going to be unbelievable.
Yeah, I think it's up.
I think it's going to be fun. I do.
Hopefully, the people that put that on have kind of an idea of how to mitigate the crowd. You know, to give you amount of time on the ice, and then.
I think you just nailed it.
Yeah.
I think we're
Give
going
you
to have
like a 15
time
minute-
constraints.
It's almost like a trampoline park. You know, you got your wristband, you're on there, and then you're off. So hopefully,
And I hope that's the case. I hope it's just a smash, you know.
so and a couple of other things that we've talked to the Chamber of Commerce about doing a little bit differently this year. All vendors will be in this parking area instead of in the park because we're concerned about the amount of people that will be around the ice skating rink. And then that way we can have the movie set up over there, the snow globe in the park.
which part of the park would the movie be in?
Same place that it has been in. So right there, the screen will be set up right inside the splash pad fence.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah,
Between
that
the
works
restroom
good.
To the right of
concession
it,
stand.
I think they tried to do it one year, like on the pavilion or something like. But yeah, and the pavilion's wound up blocking the screen, so that one's good. Yeah.
Do you foresee any additional requests for this at all?
I don't think so. Oh,
So-
additional porta potties.
So do we, when there comes a motion, does it need to include?
Yeah, you can give us that direction now. That would be great. Additional porta potties and hand washing stations. So we just feel like the restrooms that are in the park are not going to be sufficient to handle.
Will there be a roll call vote on this?
We can if that's what you prefer.
Yeah, I can always make it a roll call.
I'll be a nay. I mean, I'm not trying to be a Scrooge, but I just, you know.
Okay. Yeah, so it would be good to go ahead and get everything needs to be included so that it,
And I heard from a couple of constituents, that's why I'm kind of leaning that way too.
okay.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve adding the movie to Christmas in the Park. And I know from experience, additional porta potties and hand washing stations are not that expensive, but you're right, they are, if we're doing this, we're gonna do it right and you're needing it. So, I'll add in there that you need a little extra to make this sanitary and safe.
We ran out of toilet paper one year too.
Well, just in the age we live in, you have to have hand washing stations and
It's not a bad idea, yeah.
I'll second the motion.
All right, I have a motion and a second. I guess we'll do a roll call vote.
Michael Lowe,
Nay.
John Chambers,
Yes.
Georgia Harris,
yes.
and Zach Briscoe.
Yes.
All right, with that, the motion carries. Let's see, that brings us down to, I think that was the last thing on the agenda.
Consider future.
Yeah, consider future agenda items, and as a part of this discussion, I think it'd be appropriate to consider the next meeting date as well.
Good idea.
So if we could start with that, Mrs.
I thought our next meeting was okay for October. It's the one after. Or am I crazy?
Oh, you're
It would
right,
be
yeah, we have
November.
another one, ahead of this, yeah.
Okay, so the 25th, we're good for October.
Yes,
Yes.
so, but the first one in November is the one that, I'd like to go ahead, if we could go ahead and get that nailed down, because there's a few things in the balance there.
Would be our regular scheduled day would be the 8th, which is election day. We have new council members who need to be sworn in, but I cannot swear them in on election day. I can't swear them in before the period to canvass. I believe the period to canvass is the 11th through the 22nd. So the 11th is a Friday. We looked at it today and proposed to move the regular council meeting to November 14th, which is a Monday, because I have a planning and zoning meeting
That
on
Tuesday.
Tuesday the 15th. And then not have a council meeting on the 22nd, because that is the week of Thanksgiving.
Right. So on, our meeting on the 8th won't happen in time for canvassing to occur.
Correct.
So it's technical, nobody here is contested, but you can't technically swear people in until after canvassing. So what you're asking is to move it to the following Monday.
Okay.
So if everybody's schedules are good there, and we're doing this well in advance because we're also gonna have the new members of the Youth Community Council here. And we
Right.
kinda have to get it in their books early because they're gonna be sworn in as well.
And their sponsor has said that day works for her.
Excellent.
That's
Okay.
good, good.
I'm good with it.
I will do my best to get a flight back early, and, I'll do what I can.
All right.
Thank you. So other items for our next October meeting, we had in the 2021-2022 budget to do the tank, a water tank painting, the inside of a water tank. We did not get that done in the last fiscal year, so it has moved into this year, so we will be bringing forth a bid for your approval for that project, at the next meeting. We will have an executive session item to consider an economic development agreement. Staff has been working with TMRS, which is the Texas Municipal Retirement System. We have a very rare opportunity to increase our retirement benefits for our employees with no change to the rate that we're currently paying. So we'd like to discuss that with you all. As you all know, we held a kind of builders roundtable to talk about form board surveys and those requirements. And so we will be taking the recommendation out of that meeting to planning and zoning next week. So depending on the outcome of that meeting, we will plan to bring it to you at the end of October for your consideration. And then I think as you all know, we've been working on some council rules of procedure, just to kind of clean up some procedural items that we can handle among the council itself. So that's what we have for your next meeting.
Will there be any updates from 109 by then, do you think, that we could?
When we left our conversation today, one thing I asked of him was to kind of look at the the timeline for me. As you all know, when we approved the kind of scope of work at the last meeting, it said 8 months in there for design, and so I've asked him to take a hard look at that. He
Yeah.
may not know until he gets a little bit further into the schematic design of what we're looking at, but I will keep following up with him to see if we can get a better timeline of what we're looking at for that project.
Okay. Yeah, the sooner the better. The cost of everything's going up, and procurement's gonna be a problem, so the sooner we can start moving dirt and buying stuff, it's good. We want it designed right. I don't wanna rush any of that, you know, but,
So I asked for that and some exterior renderings.
okay. Did they get those design changes in place? I haven't seen a rendering yet that had the conference room upstairs on the correct side of the
I
building.
hadn't seen it until this morning.
Okay,
So
excellent.
yes, those changes were incorporated.
All right, good deal. Yeah, anything else to add to this agenda? Okay. That'll be the next one so far. So that takes us on to item I, which is executive session, which we don't have. Then we go to J, we're not reconvening for anything, so we go to K. If there's no remaining or new business to discuss at this point, this meeting is adjourned. It is. The time is 6:25 and White House City Council is now adjourned.
Yeah, good going,
Faked us
Mayor.
out.
Thank you,
We
Mayor.
were ready.
You were very restrained with it tonight.
I'm on vacation.
So why didn't they fly the balloons?
They had somebody that